Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 20. Can you believe we've made it to 20? My show is called WWII Snyder's Offbeat and Overlooked, and this is a weekly streaming show where I interview a variety of experts. Just a second. Oh no, you know what? I think the show is playing in another room and I don't know if you can hear it or not. That's crazy. I thought I was just going to tell my husband to turn off the volume, but I'll have to tell him when he comes back. Anyway, this is a show where I interview a variety of experts about cemetery symbols, forgotten history, folklore. Sometimes we talk about the paranormal, quirky travel, even UFOs. Basically, all the offbeat and overlooked people, places, and things that tickle my fancy. And as you know, I have a very ticklish fancy. So in case you're new here, I'm WWII Snyder. I write books, I give talks, I do a lot of research. I spend a lot of time in historic cemeteries, as you guys well know. And this week, we have a guest, Ernie Kern. And you know what? I think I'm just going to have to turn down that volume myself and just run out of here. So sorry, this is the first time this has happened. Just a second. I'll be right back. Oh, Larry, could you turn the volume off upstairs? My show's running upstairs and the echo is driving me nuts. Sorry. Well, that's a new one on me. I think my husband was going to watch and maybe left the room. And so I was like, why am I hearing people in the other room? All right. So my guest today is going to be Ernie Kern, and we're going to talk a lot about the volunteer work that he and his wife do. They reposition military headstones, the graves of veterans. And with Memorial Day around the corner, that topic just seemed so perfect. Now, I have a few announcements, as always, before we bring Ernie on. So I'm going to hurry those so we can get to him soon. Of course, I have my replay page, and I like to remind you guys that replays are forever. After every show, I end up having someone ask me, where can I see your show? I missed the show. Where are the replays? Oh, I see Wade here. I know. Uh-oh, can you believe that? That was really weird. I was like, what is going on? I hear people in the other room. Oh, well, I have to make it. I have never made that mistake before or had that thing happen. Always have to have a new mistake happen. And I should just welcome everybody here. I already saw that it's always exciting when people show up a little early for this show. We have, like, who all do we have? I already saw a bunch of people showing up beforehand. I saw Francisca, hi, all the way from the Netherlands. Nice to see you. Got Scott, hey. So glad you could make it. Whoa, who we have? Sandra, woohoo, hey, Sandra, glad you could come. And Nicole, great to see you. I think you guys are really going to enjoy Ernie. I was talking to him a bit before the show, and he's a lot of fun. We've exchanged emails before, too, so he's really interesting. I'm happy to have him on. Now, I usually have a photo of a week in the book of the week, but I wanted to talk about a couple videos that I have on my channel that you might have missed, or maybe you just want to watch them again. I bring them up because Memorial Day weekend is this weekend. And so I wanted to remind you that I have a video all about Memorial Day, specifically the forgotten history of Memorial Day. There are a lot of things that you may not know about this holiday, like what it was originally called, what 3 p.m. has to do with Memorial Day, which soldiers were specifically left out of it at the beginning, how things changed, how the way we celebrate and think about Memorial Day really changed after World War II, and just some interesting things that I discovered when I was researching it. There was a lot more to this holiday than you may expect. Another video that you might want to watch for Memorial Day weekend is my video about veterans' graves, how to quickly identify the different types of veterans' graves. And that's an interesting one as well. Now, speaking of veterans' grave, there's something that comes up every year this time, and you've probably already seen it on Facebook or Instagram or social media, and it's this. you suddenly see a thing that talks about the meaning of coins on headstones, and specifically veterans' headstones. And they claim that a penny means one thing, a nickel means another, a dime means another. Well, I gotta tell you, I did a lot of research on this, and it was really weird to me because I had never heard of this until about 2008 or 2009. And believe it or not, that is about the time that this particular meme began circulating around the internet. I've talked to a lot of veterans who are older who said they had never heard of this, but that they were aware of challenge coins. And one thing that got to me when I tried to research it was there were a couple red flags. For one thing, I could only find information about it on the internet. None of the books or other resources I have, which I have bookshelf full of things like this, mentioned it. Number two, I'd never heard of it before the 2000s. And number three, I guess I had three things. I noticed there was not a consistency. Like one website would claim a nickel meant one thing, and another website would claim a nickel meant a different thing. And I've even seen this talked about on news channels, like NBC News. They would say that a penny means this and a dime means that. So I looked into it a lot. It turns out that that really is something, that whole idea of coins, that actually didn't come about until the 2000s. So people get mad at me when I point this out when I do the research. I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade. Perhaps this is a new tradition that's being born, but it's not a long-standing tradition that I can find. The act of leaving coins on graves, that goes back to ancient Greece, and that's a very long-standing tradition. This new one, people, maybe they will eventually codify it and get clear where a penny means this and a dime means that, and they really stick to it. So all I can say is that it's a very new tradition. It's certainly not a long-standing one. And if you want to read more about it, I did put links in the description box to my article about this. And I also have a link to this video and a link to this video. So you'll be all prepared for Memorial Day weekend. Okay, oh, and I see we have Debbie here. Hi, Debbie, so glad you can make it. Wonderful to see you here. Thanks for coming. Now, I have a few photos of the week. I thought I'd do a little show and tell because I was invited down this week, my very first road trip. Like, I have been nowhere. I've gone nowhere except some historic cemeteries with my husband. But this was like an actual road trip. We had a 6-hour drive down to Austin, and the Austin Chapel at Oakwood Cemetery invited me down because they are doing a documentary film about military headstones. And so I spent all day, I mean, it was like a 9-hour day in Oakwood Cemetery down in Austin. And here, the person in red isn't me. That's the photographer's assistant, and she had a camera on me. And then here's the videographer. This is the woman, the really nice lady. She runs the museum, Oakwood Chapel Museum there. And then I'm talking about what the meaning of the symbols on this particular headstone. And oh my gosh, it was so interesting. I mean, there were so many headstones I wanted to run over and look at, but they were very much like, you know, you need to go here and there. They had it all planned. So I didn't get to. Here's a photo I took. I snuck a photo of them taking when they were setting up a shot. Because we would go to Jennifer, the woman who runs the chapel. She had a whole list of all these headstones that she wanted someone to talk about. And so I would see something I wanted to go look at, but it'd be like, nope, we got to go over to this one. One thing that is funny is that it has been raining cats and dogs here in Texas all month. And we made it through that day with only one rain break. There's only one time we were worried about this guy's camera, you know? So it was a successful trip. I talked and talked for like 9 hours straight about historic cemeteries and symbols. It was really fun. Here is one photo I managed to sneak off because I just loved this epitaph where it says the unknown future. And I would like to look into that. Someone told me that might be a book. I don't really know. So maybe I'll get a chance to look into that. Yeah, it was a really fun experience. I was really nervous the night before, but then once I got there, I just got so excited by all the headstones that I didn't have a chance to feel nervous anymore, because I would just, it was something a topic I'm passionate about. And it's always fun to be out in nature running around. I should say, when I got there, they were a little shocked to see that I was wearing open-toed sandals. And I was like, they warned me because we have fire ants. But you know what? I always wear open-toed sandals because it's so darn hot. And I only got one fire ant bite. You have to be super careful around here, though. Okay, so that was my big excitement for the week. What's this? Reminds me of seeing some in Texas. Wanted the past. I like that. Yeah, the unknown future. Okay, so this week's sponsor, I thought this was neat. I found an advertisement for some white bronze monuments from a newspaper in 1896. I'm sure a lot of you guys know these. They're called white bronze, but they're actually zinc alloy monuments. And they're some of my favorite monuments because they really are enduring. You can read the epitaphs easy. They don't, lichen and moss doesn't grow on them much, and they really are enduring. Unfortunately, during World War I, the zinc was needed for the war effort, and that really put this company out of business, so we don't see too many of them. Of course, when I bring this up, I need to say that my real sponsors for this show are my Patreon supporters, by which I mean Bob, Connie, Ian, Scott, Ghost Cat, Jessica, Anne, Envy, Jay, Ken, Patty, Sarah, Julie, Margaret, Hugh, Mikhail, Naomi, Tim, Pete, Sarah, Rachel, and the other Tui, who is not related to me, but we share that wacky name. These are really neat. I wish they would bring them back too. They had such a variety. My friend David, who I had on the show a while ago, he sent me a PDF of the catalog for white bronze monuments. So neat. You could really design your tomb how you wanted, and you could create, and they have so many symbols and interesting epitaphs. It is a shame that they don't have those anymore. Now, for the book of the week, I have a little bit of a different book than usual. This is a blank notebook, but if you know me, you know that I am a sucker for blank notebooks. And if you like this one, I'll bring up here. I'm just going to bring myself up so you can see it. I bought it, just arrived in the mail. I love it. It's like an old style East Coast headstone, one of those like colonial ones. Here lies my thoughts undone. Started many, finished none. This is going to be the perfect to-do list and notebook to have in my purse. I actually bought a couple of them because I knew one would not be enough for me. They're on sale right now on her site. She has a really neat site, and it's just her name. MEA, so it's Megan Melly. I think I have the link down below as well. So if you want this to be a great gift for somebody in your life, I am just thrilled to pieces over mine, and a lot of fun. So I thought I would share that with you guys. Oh yeah, Francisca's saying those zinc markers always look like they are recently placed. I know, they really do well sitting outside in all weathers. I really, really like them. They are some of my favorite markers for sure. Oh, someone else loves notebooks. Yeah, if you're a notebook lover, then you might want to check out Megan Melly's stuff. I thought it was really great. She has lots of other things too, but that's what I could not resist. Okay, so I want to tell you a little more about my guest before I bring him in here. He's a bit different than the guests I usually have on here, because I usually bring on someone who has written a book or does something like that. But instead, I am bringing Ernie on because he's been on my newsletter for a while. So, I send a newsletter every Sunday, and I know a lot of you are on it. And I tell people who's going to be on my show next and any other news that I have. So, go to my website and sign up for it. If you stuck around this long in the video, you might actually enjoy my newsletter. It's not for everybody. But Ernie has sent me a few photos over the years of some of the really incredible volunteer work. And they reset veterans' headstones. the flat marker ones that have fallen over or ones that have sunk way down in the dirt, which just happens. Mother Nature will just kind of cover up those headstones. So this is some really important things he's done. And he wanted me to, before I brought him in, he wanted me to read this couple paragraphs because it really sums up the work that he and his wife do. And I bet you guys are going to have questions for him. So feel free. I will try to do a good job of monitoring the questions down below. Now, there was an article written about him and 2 paragraphs that he wanted me to read. Let me bring it up here. This article by Bryce Abshire. I'm not sure what the publication is exactly, but he said, all things on earth come and go. While it is a morbid thought, everyone living today will, in a way, pass on twice. The first death comes in a literal sense, when the body ceases to be, but the second will be in a more metaphorical sense. When the body, that happens the last time that somebody mentions your name. Dr. Irvin D. Yalom, 88-year-old professor of psychiatry at Stanford University, wrote, "Someday soon, perhaps in 40 years, there will be no one alive who has ever known me. That's when I will be truly dead, when I exist in no one's memory." I thought a lot about how someone very old is the last living individual to have known some person or cluster of people. When that person dies, the whole cluster dies too, vanishing from the living memory. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest in here today. And well, hi there, Ernie.
Hey, kid.
And gonna just check with everybody. How is the volume? Do we have any sort of echo going, guys? Ernie sounds pretty high, pretty loud to me again. I'm just worried. Sometimes that can cause an echo. They'll let us know if we've got an echo.
Okay.
So how's it going down in Florida today?
Wonderful.
Oh,
Wonderful.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm excited to have you on. I've wanted to have you on for a while, and this just seems like the perfect day since Memorial Day is right around the corner, and you will be fresh in everybody's minds. You do a lot of important volunteer work, and I'm really excited to share this with people. I do have to ask the obvious question. Oh, here we go. This is great. Volume is okay here on both sides. Thank you, Waste My Blade. I can't trust I don't know if you guys have been watching. I actually can hear a little bit out of my ear now, but I don't trust it yet. So that's good. All right, glad to know it's okay. So getting back to you, Ernie, I have to ask the obvious question, and that is, what inspired you to start resetting veterans' headstones? And when did you start? When did you start doing that?
May 17th, I found my father's grave in Sumterville Cemetery in Sumterville, Florida. I was at his funeral, but that was a long time ago, and I didn't even know how to find it. And finally, through help of the people around, I found my dad's grave. He had married a lady afterwards that had pretty good money, and he had a beautiful, beautiful grave. And when we stood on my dad's grave, looked over to the edge, there was a Vietnam vet that the only thing you could make out in the brush was a metal helmet. And so that was my wife and I's first project, is to clean up that soldier's grave. And then we continued in there, finding a lot of graves due to the mining going on there in that area. Every time they blast rock, they'd settle down a little bit more. And a lot of them were completely covered over and gone.
Yeah.
But by having different reports from other people in there, we were able to probe and find them. That took us 2 years in that one cemetery.
Now, I wonder if your ears were burning this week, because when I was down in Austin recently, I saw a headstone that was a bit swallowed up by the earth. And I mentioned the work that you do. And the woman there who runs the chapel, she sighed. She goes, "Oh, yeah, there are so many graves we would love to reset, but we are not allowed to because that's the cemetery association won't hardly give them permission. You have to contact the family before you can go and try and reset something because it's so old. Did you have any issues like that, or did the cemetery association say go ahead, or how did that work?
I had one Saturday that only because the people took such good care of this grave, I go in and dig it up. I wanted to make sure that it went back in place. So I found the family's name and I called it. And they were just tickled to death. But
Yeah.
normally the association or the city, like Bellevue, they're just happy that we're out there doing something like that.
Yeah, I think the problem with the cemetery I was at was it's so old. It's from the Victorian era. And back then, when you bought a cemetery plot, you actually owned that little chunk of land in kind of the way, and so they're being super cautious on that. The areas around it, that's why they're so delineated. So it's a little different. Well, I'm glad to hear you haven't had that sort of problem.
Well, one thing about just doing veteran graves, you go to the VFW or the American Legion and tell them, hey, I got a bunch of graves out here and it needs to come up. You're going to get support. And I don't think there's any problem. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Now, I'm curious. So you and your wife started doing this. What sort of tools are involved? What do you take?
I got a shovel my son made for me that's got a steel handle on it and a pry bar. We go down under them, usually dig out behind them, pry them up, and then as long as I can, I just raise them up on its side and set it there. And then we put pavers, these concrete pavers underneath them.
Oh, okay.
Level it off with sand. I went to an outfit that does basements that are sinking, and I asked them about it, and they said if those stones have been in there for 80 years or 60 years, and you bring them up and put these pavers underneath them, he said chances are you've got another 100 years before they're going to sink down.
Wow. Okay, that was another question I had, was how long this will last. And that is really great that you did that sort of research. Have you ever thought of writing up a pamphlet about that, or a little booklet, or a website?
I'm too busy digging up graves.
Sounds like it. Sounds like it. Yeah, you've done over 1,000 of these now. You guys have.
Yes, ma'am. I've got a computer we take a picture of every tombstone before we do anything with it.
Well, that's
and then
great.
we take one afterwards to show that nothing happened to it.
And, that makes me happy.
And that's what we do. Every one of them. We have 2,030 photos in my computer right now. So that's
wow.
That's 1,015 stones we've raised down.
Oh my goodness, that is really great, and it's so good. I love it when people document things, because I'm the person who likes notebooks, and I'm always taking notes and trying to document things. People are into it. That's such a nice thing to do, isn't it, Nicole? That is really wonderful, and it makes me happy that you're documenting it as well.
One thing that I started doing is the Spanish-American War has been my thing, they claim nobody in the Spanish-American War was buried in Marion County, where I live. Oh. So far, we've registered 33 of them on that list. And it's a story in itself, because the government sent out Spanish-American tombstones when people actually fought in the Philippine-American War, the China. Yeah, they got the same one, because originally they'd fought in the Spanish-American War.
Oh.
I don't know, but it's a lot of times I'll get a report back from the fellow that does this saying, Ernie, they didn't fight in that war. They fought in the Philippine-American War.
So they're mislabeled on the headstone. Oh my goodness.
Ma'am.
I always take it so literally. Now every time I see a Spanish-American headstone, I'll be like, this could have been a different conflict. Oh my gosh. That is incredible.
Whenever you find one, you need to get a hold of Pat McSherry. And he's the one that keeps this log of everybody that was in the Spanish-American War. Does a beautiful job of it. It's on the website. Yeah.
Okay, I might have to get his name from you after this show,
I'll
or
send
you
it
can
to you.
email me.
Yes,
That would be
yes,
great.
ma'am, I
I
will.
think
Sure.
that's now. Francisca is wondering, how do you fund that? Is there funding for all this volunteer work that you do?
The only thing I've got a grave that I'm looking for right now. There was a Black American fought was in the First World War, which very few of them was.
Mm.
But his tombstone wound up in a town in a guy's backyard, and he called his grandpa, and they called me to come up and see whether he'd bought a place with a cemetery in the backyard. Found this tombstone of this black man, Henry Thomas, but I haven't found his body yet to put the stone back on top of. And
Oh.
we've been up there looking. My wife and I, 3 different trips we made looking. The vets who serve vets gives me, I think they give me $60 worth of gas cards for this one project. But other than that, it's what we do out of our own pocket.
Wow.
But
yeah, this is the one you were telling me where the guy said that he just found the headstone in an old car and just threw it
in an old car and just threw it out in the backyard. Yeah. But it was amazing that we were able to track back and find out that much about it.
And that is amazing. Yeah. Wow.
But so far, I found his grandson, who's in his 80s, who went to his grandfather's cemetery when he was small, but it was all grown up. So he can't remember where it was.
Yeah, when you're little, that can be tough. Oh, boy. Wow. I sure hope you can solve that mystery. That's interesting. Speaking of African Americans, it was kind of neat. One of the headstones that I saw down in Austin this weekend was for a Tuskegee Airman, and from one of the first Black aviators from World War II. I thought that was pretty neat. I'd never seen the Tuskegee Airman grave before. Wow. Well, you've got a lot of mysteries to solve. It sounds like you're solving a lot of them.
I didn't believe that we had that the Black also served in the Spanish American War. There was 2 units in there. I haven't found any of their grave sites, but I know there was 2 units of Blacks that served in that.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
It's interesting.
It really is. It really is.
Only doing this 3 years. It's been interesting, fun, and we've both enjoyed it. My wife and I both.
Wow, so 3 years. Okay, I wonder how long. That is really neat. Well, I enjoy going out and stomping around. It really makes you think about history in a different way. It's just a lot of fun. Now, this last weekend, you were doing something. You were teaching youngsters how to do this, or something along those lines.
I've done different graves. Cemeteries with the junior ROTCs from the high school.
Oh, okay.
And just got a call yesterday from the commander of the ROTCs claiming that when they come back in August, they will adopt this one cemetery that's real bad shape and do a monthly drill out there on that cemetery, cleaning it out.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it is wonderful, yeah. And Saturday I was with a group from the Bellevue High School that, we raised 15 headstones there Saturday morning. And
wow.
Got flags on them, and they're ready for Memorial Day.
Oh, that is wonderful. Yeah, that's a good use of all that teenage energy. You can get them doing some of the heavy work for you.
How many cemeteries you found with an outhouse on it?
Oh, yeah, that is a funny one. Okay. Well, I've got to say, before I bring up this photo, in general, very few cemeteries have facilities.
Right.
You kind of got to plan ahead, or, I've got contingency plans because a lot of times my husband and I go to the middle of nowhere, and no one's around. But if it's an urban one, it can be a little like, what am I going to do? So I thought this was so funny. You have... Oh, yeah, I want to show some pictures. I've got these other pictures I'll show, but yeah, you're mentioning this. I'll bring it up. You brought this photo that you shared. I thought this was really funny. Tell me where you saw this. And that's an old-looking outhouse.
It's called Blue Sink Cemetery in Marion County, Florida. It's an old cemetery and very few headstones in it, but evidently the workers built an outhouse there, so they had a place to go.
Well, that's an important thing. Okay, we have a question from Debbie. She is saying, are all the headstones that have been reset the flat ones, or do you ever reset ones, the upright ones?
No, I haven't. I haven't had that problem with them because you can normally read what's on the headstone. When these flat ones sink down on the ground, they just disappear.
Yeah, that's the point. Here, I'll show an example of the work you guys have done. So here's your wife. Here's a before picture.
Full of weeds.
Yeah. After, and then here I'll just show side by side so people can see what you did. That is really nice. Yeah.
We buy a cleaning solution and
clean that was another question I had for you.
Yeah, we put Dawn detergent on it, scrub them down good, and rinse them down good with water.
Dawn detergent is good for everything. I mean, it's one of those. It's like the duct tape of detergents. Right. That is really something. Right. I mean, they use it to clean ducts that have gotten oil on them. I mean, it's always Dawn. I feel like I should go buy some now.
I got it.
But so I was going to ask if you had ever used. There are some commercial products out. One's called D2, I think, and it's specifically for cleaning headstones. And I wondered if you'd ever used anything like that. But it sounds like you just use the Dawn.
No, I use a chlorine, commercial chlorine that I get at the swimming pool supply place.
Oh, wow.
Spray it down first. The main reason is I talk to the different people that have tombstones. They make the tombstones.
Yeah,
I ask them what they use, and they all use chlorine and just rinse them off good to make sure they don't streak.
Okay. I did see some headstones that had been cleaned recently, and there were streaky marks on them.
Don't get enough water on them when they get down.
Oh, that's, I never actually clean headstones. I carry a whisk broom with me, and I just, the bird poop and the lichen, and I just do a little whisking. I'm always afraid to do too much, but I do appreciate it when, certainly the work you're doing. That is really great. I wanted to tell everyone that you were recently, in March, you and your wife were honored by the city of Bellevue, Florida. And so you got this, here people can see, March 16th of 2021 was Ernie and Carol Kern Day. Tell me what that was like, that all came to be.
It was just the fact that we are taking care of the cemeteries here in Bellevue where we live. And, we maintain flags on all the military graves the year round, not just on Memorial Day.
Oh, okay.
So the American Legion has invited us to be in part of their ceremony Monday because they don't have to put the flags up now.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you've done that for them.
So I want to add something right now about it. I learned that we take a PVC pipe, 5/8 of a diameter, and we cut them off in 1 foot lengths. We drive that in the ground by the tombstone and then put the flag inside of it.
Oh.
Because of the weed eaters, they just chop them wooden sticks right off. And this PVC, they'll be there for 3-4 months and no problem with them.
That is great.
Yeah. So something I've suggested to anybody that puts flags up, put a PVC pipe in the ground first.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Even when the weed eater doesn't get them, those little sticks are not not the sturdiest things in the world. I see them and I try and fix them, and they do rot. So that PVC, that's a great idea. Wow, that's really neat. So how did you find out that did they just call you up, or did you just get a phone call from the mayor's office, or what? How did it come down?
I work pretty close with them because they've done a lot of work on their son. I was invited by a neighbor in here if there was anything I could do to improve the cemetery here. And so we started, the city backed it. They come in, they tore down the old fence, they built up new fences. They went in and pulled a lot of people plant bushes around these tombstones and not realize they're going to grow up and destroy the tombstone. So they went in and took out the bushes, and they did a did a great job. I'm very proud of our cemetery here in Bellevue, Florida.
Oh, that is nice. So, how many different cemeteries have you raised tombstones at? Is it mostly?
I'm trying to get to everyone in Marion County, and
Mhm.
it's there's a lot of cemeteries around. A
Yeah.
lot of them. I would say 30 different cemeteries right now that we have flags in PVC pipe. And you
Wow.
drive by one that's got a piece of PVC pipe. We were there.
Okay. Well, that's neat. Well, next time I come driving through
Yeah.
Florida,
Florida.
I will let you know.
Please do. Please do.
Now, your son did something that really sweet, and I'm going to bring up those photos that you sent me. I thought this was really very kind of him. Kindness just seems to run in your family here. You want to tell us the story, and I'll show you the photos. This is that.
This is the Crum Cemetery, and it goes way back to where the railroad first came through Marion County. And on off in the woods, they don't even develop it because that's where all the blacks were buried. This cemetery up front, the man, I got permission to go in and raise the tombstones, and he told me that there was a little girl buried there, and she'd been there for 14 years with no headstone. And he had called her grandmother, and she said she didn't have any money to do anything like that. The mother and dad were put in jail, and he wasn't able to reach any of them. So I said, hey, we'll make you a tombstone. You show me where she is. And he said, she's buried right here. So my son went down to the rock company here and got that tombstone and made it. And she was born in January, died in March. She was 2.5 months old. Her father's pet python got out of the cage, got in the crib, and strangled her, or somehow she was dead with a snake wrapped around her when the police got there.
That is so sad.
Yes,
I actually looked that up. I tried to research it a bit, and I did see that parents had gone to jail, and they didn't. The newspaper article I read, like her obituary doesn't mention what happened, but there are others. So I thought that was really sweet of you. That was so tragic, and it was very nice of you guys to.
I'll tell you what. At 86, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing it, but if I die in a cemetery doing it, I'll be very happy.
Yeah, well, it is wonderful what you're doing. I find it very inspiring, and it is good that you're teaching these groups. You were saying like the ROTC, and here in Texas and other places, a lot of times I noticed that the Boy Scouts will occasionally adopt a cemetery. So it is nice when I think it's good to get young people. Get young people involved in this, and then maybe it turns them on to history and it gives them an appreciation for cemeteries.
I think it's good to turn anybody on to it. It's real. Mm-hmm. Nobody complains about what you're doing out there.
Yeah,
it's all very quiet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. You just sad story. Nice that she got her marker. Yay, and the snake yay too. Yeah, okay. Well, we knew you were saying. We didn't think you were applauding the snake. Nice to see the ramen raider. Hey, glad you could stop by. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So, what is your next project? Do you have do you have a list of cemeteries that you're going down?
Yes, I have a list of every cemetery in Marion County. Mm-hmm. Also, most of them were listed like in 2001 and that. So anything buried after that, I don't have a record of, but I'll go back through those. I'm trying to find the Spanish American is really what I go after.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But once you find a vet that's sinking in the ground, you've got to get the shovel out and dig him up.
Yeah, wow. Well, putting the pavers under there, that was really interesting. People are really appreciating what your son did. You can tell your son, everyone here, we heartily approve of what he did. That was very sweet of him. Now, I wanted to tell everybody that this is your first time using StreamYard.
Yeah, it sure is.
We need to give your grandson Skylar a shout out for getting you all hooked up for the technology. Yeah. It's working so great, so that's really nice.
Yeah.
And so have you lived in Marion County your whole life, or what's your connection?
No, ma'am. My wife and I both worked in Palm Beach County. I was a lieutenant with Florida Game and Freshwater Fish Commission, and she was the head of Guardian Ad Litem program. And when she retired in 2004, I was already doing missionary work in Costa Rica, Panama, and Nicaragua. She joined me doing that, and then we moved up here because on a pension from the Game Commission, you don't live in Palm Beach County very long.
Yeah, that is a pricey county.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is retired from Fish and Wildlife up in Washington State. So I always make him tell me stories. You have different set of wildlife down there in Florida, though. You probably have some alligator and boa constrictors.
I was having fun with your cat back there because I had about 4 different bobcats that I raised. And they were just
bobcats?
Yes, ma'am. And they were just like that cat right there. Lay wherever I was, that's where they'd be.
Yeah, I was happy that she got situated before the show, because if she doesn't get situated before the show, and as soon as I start talking to the computer, she has to be wherever I'm at.
That's good. That's good. Well, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much. Judy, I lost you. I don't hear you. Judy. Are you there? Skylar. Skylar. I lost her.
That wasn't us. That was her.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not you. You're still in here. Okay. You're all here, so you're good. So, I don't know.
I don't know where she went.
Yeah, it says buffering. She froze, buffering, frozen in time. So that wasn't you.
Okay. Okay.
So seems to be problems.
That's good. I think we're about done. Did you hear her congratulate you for setting this thing on?
I did. I was watching it on YouTube out there.
And
so.
Pictures of your mama with her button, grandma with her button.
I think so. People are still asking you. They want you to keep talking if you're interested, and see if she comes back.
Just keep talking.
Yeah, they just want you to keep talking about yourself, Grandpa. And then if she doesn't come back in the next few minutes, we'll cut it down.
Okay. All right.
Continue what you're doing, Grandpa. I'll check it out.
Well, I'll keep talking. If anybody can ever find Henry Thomas, I'd sure like to return his tombstone to him. And like I said, this is all new to me, so I think Trudy's got my email. If I can help anybody else get started in the same thing, I just apologize for starting out at such an old age. I wish I'd have done it a lot sooner in my life. It's very rewarding, and it's been just a wonderful exercise, and just been a good life, guys. So, Trudy, True, where did you go, dear? Just like this guy. Does anybody still hear me? Just say yes or no, and I'll shut it.
All right, I think we're good, Grandpa. I think. So somebody says, "What is the most unusual stone you've found?"
There's a tombstone in Bellevue, Florida that says he did it his way. And glued to the tombstone are two 38 empty cartridges. I think that's one of the strangest ones I've seen.
I see people are loving this. Yeah. Okay. Yes, it was most unusual. Yes. And this is interesting. So, just maybe ask if they have any other questions to put it in the chat, and you keep answering until she comes back, or we'll give it 5 more minutes.
Any more questions? Anybody? Email is erniekern96@gmail.com. Be very pleased to hear from anyone.
So this is Larry is the woman who is. So they asked, did you grow up in Florida?
From about 12 years old, I was raised here in Florida, in Pasco County. And like I said, wound up working for the Florida Game and Freshwater Fish Commission in Palm Beach County. And after retired in 94, started doing missionary work in Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and Panama. And found out it was very impossible to live in Palm Beach, so we moved up to Bellevue, Florida, and made this our home.
Are you going to do people who aren't soldiers?
Are you going to do?
As in, like,
We have in the first cemetery, we did every tombstone there that was sinking down, and found out that I can no longer do that. I hope these groups that take my place will be able to go in and do all the tombstones. Right now, it's just the veterans that I'm raising up. If a veteran's wife is buried right next to him, yes, we'll raise her headstone too. But normally it's just the veterans. It takes a lot of pavers to put 2 to 4 pavers under each tombstone. Who is the picture in the background? My youngest daughter. And you never know how old you are until your youngest of 4 children call you and say,
Here I am. Hi.
They're on Social Security. Where you been, woman?
Jeez, it's crazy. My computer the screen just went dead.
You need a grandson to come help you.
I don't know. I'm on my phone now. I had to log in and make a new account. I was just like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I'm glad you're still there.
They asked.
There's the cat still there.
They asked me who that picture was up there behind me, and I was just telling them that's my youngest daughter.
Oh, nice.
And you don't really know how old you are until your youngest of 4 calls you and tell you they just signed up for Social Security.
Wow.
Wow is right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, thanks for holding down the fort. Good grief.
Hey, I was surprised. I looked down here and I see they kept asking questions. So I thought,
oh yeah, I have the nicest.
I give them my email.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because I want to help people any way I can to get started doing the same thing. And
yeah,
like I said, I'm just so sorry I didn't start much younger in life, because I find it very, very rewarding. Yeah.
It's wonderful what you do. I really think it's great. And wow, it's already 10 to 5. So if
I know, baby.
Man, that was the weirdest thing ever. I was just going to ask you, did you already tell them about your pet bobcats? Because I wanted to hear about them.
No, we lived on 10,000 acres in Palm Beach County at JW Corbett Wildlife Management Area. And any animal got hurt or anything else, we wound up bringing them back. And it was a nice place to
I'm on the phone
raise them. It was a nice place to raise them. So,
oh, yeah. Oh, that's neat.
And
They're so
It's so funny.
beautiful.
Biologists always said that there's no way you can tame a bobcat. That they're
Yeah.
just too wild. That's not true. Anything you put love into, you can train it, and
Ah,
they'll give you back that same love.
that's a beautiful thought, and something that, important lesson that everyone should learn.
Right.
I bet you've raised a lot of animals. I know I'm steering off the. Oh, look, here's. You can see my cat back there. She's
Yep.
drinking.
There-
She's drinking out of the her favorite
fish tank.
Yeah, she has that little fish tank is just specifically for her. We have a big fish tank,
Oh.
but this little one, I if it's our hospital tank, and also but yeah, it's her favorite thing to drink out of. I mean, she has plenty of other things to drink out of, but of course she goes for the fish tea. Being a cat,
I see somebody ask if we ever tried to get funding.
Oh yeah, I know. Does that go in there if I do
No,
that? Oh, it does.
because you got to keep record down. You're accountable for it, and
Yeah.
we're not going hungry.
Yeah.
We're doing well. My wife and I don't go crazy, but we're doing okay. And
Yeah, it's working out then.
It's working out fine, and I just soon do it that way than have to account for some money and that type of thing.
Well, I gotta say, when you get involved in a certain, let's set up a 501(c) and let's set up this thing. It can get really complicated, and you might end up spending a lot of time doing paperwork and dealing with things that keep you from actually the task at hand, which is resetting these headstones.
When I was with the Game Commission, I voted for Ronald Reagan because he said that he was going to cut the paperwork in half. At that time, when he took office, we were making 3 copies. Within 4 years, we were making 7 copies of everything.
Oh my gosh.
That's how I feel about paperwork.
Yeah, not fun, not fun. Glitchy woman. I know this is my nickname. Some days I have glitches, and this is one of them. Apparently, I'm having fun, but it is also a glitchy day. I don't know where the cat went. Oh, she's just stomping around.
Love your hats.
Oh, thank you. I me and my hats. You can always have a good hat day. You can't always have a good hair day. It sure would be nice if a paving stone company would donate some. Yeah, some things like that would be nice. That's true. Good points. Good points.
The stone we got the little girl's monument from, and my son fixed up. I took him back a picture and just thanked him for that stone.
Yeah.
You got 3 sons that are in their 30s and 40s, and you got Mama back there working.
Oh.
When I showed them that stone, they started crying. And I'll tell you, I think I could probably get a truckload of them from them by just saying, "Hey guys, I need another stone." Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, that is awfully nice. You're doing great work. I'm going to see
Love
now.
it.
Does anybody have any more questions here? Oh, I think I just saw Carol maybe.
You just saw Carol?
I think I saw her. I think I caught a glimpse.
Yeah, she probably popped in here. They all came in here for a minute.
Probably when I disappeared. That was.
I was trying
thing ever.
I hollered for my grandson, "Come help me, she's gone."
You're a trooper. I appreciate it. I was afraid you were going to hang up, and I was just like, I don't know what happened.
No.
My computer just decided to not work. Hopefully, after the show, I'll be able to fix it. I thought we had lost power, but it was just my computer.
Skylar said, "Grandpa, they're still asking questions. Answer them."
Yeah. Speaking of, if anyone has more questions for Ernie, go ahead and ask. I just think it's wonderful what you're doing. So what are your plans for Memorial Day weekend?
Monday, first of all, Carol and I'll go check the cemeteries Saturday and Sunday, make sure all the flags are in good shape. And we'll take there's my youngest daughter on there. Starla do 3 wanting to know where Carol is.
Oh, how funny. That's cute. Someone
we'll go check flags, make sure they're not torn and that new flags put in. And then Memorial Day, the American Legion has invited us to take part in their ceremony here in Bellevue. So that's probably what we'll do Monday.
Where do you get your flags from?
I
Just
get my
online,
flags. No, I want to really compliment the Ace Hardware here.
Oh,
They donated 600 flags to me. And
wow.
before that, I was getting them from Vets Serve Vets in Ocala.
Okay.
But Ace Hardware just give us 600 flags.
Boy, that
Another
is nice.
man give us the PVC pipe. And
Oh, that's great.
so those are things I don't have to make paperwork out of. I can take and use them.
Yeah, that is nice.
Well, I thank you so much for this program. I think you're doing a great job at what you're doing too. And
Thanks.
it's so interesting to see so many people involved in it. And
It's so fun. I love having, the show kind of gives me an excuse to talk to people like you, and I love finding out what everyone's doing and learning more. So it's really fun for me. And I'm just super impressed. I am thrilled to pieces that you are taking before and after photos. That is just great. I love that you're documenting it. And,
that's a must. That's a must to do it. Yes.
And if someone else, who knows what they will do with that documentation down the road. But it's great that you've done that. I think that's wonderful.
Well, the George Albright is our county tax collector, and it's so funny. The cemetery I went to is where all his family. That was my second cemetery I went to. Is a lot of Albrights in there, and the man taking care of it told me he didn't have any money to take care of the trees and all that. And I said, I'm going to call that guy right over there. And he said, do you know George Albright? And I said, no, but I write him a check every year for my taxes. I made a call down there, and within 5 minutes, I had George on the phone. And the next day, had him at that cemetery. And that cemetery now is looking real nice.
Wow. I really admire how you know how to get things done. Like, a lot of people would just complain, but I think you thought, well, I'm going to give him a call. Do you recognize his name? Hey, tax guy. I write him a check every year. That was great. Words of wisdom. Here's
so
Nicole.
we're working just hand. I mean, he's the one that got me all the information about the guy buying old cars and the property, owned the property before. So he goes ahead of me on the computer, and we're trying to find this Henry Thomas. And no, it's a good working relationship, and a lot of people involved in it. Yeah.
That's great. You've really networked. I like that.
Yeah, you got to. Well, look where you are. This is all network, isn't it?
Yeah, it is fun. And Nicole is saying, it's nice to meet amazing, nice people like you and your family. It is. That's the whole reason I do this show. It's really just fun every week. I look forward to talking to people. It's hard. I'm getting confused as to where to go with this. I'm not used to having to hold the phone. Here, I'll just put the cat on. Oh, can I put the cat on here? There she is. There she is. She went back to her spot. Now she's all happy.
She's a happy cat.
Yeah, one happy
What's
cat.
this down there, son?
All right, let's see here. Francisca says, it's nice that many contribute to your project. All small together make that these veterans are not forgotten. Exactly. Everybody working together. And it really is, like you said, I don't have access to my slideshow anymore, but I like that quote you had me read at the beginning about, people.
I think it's so important.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And that really sums up what you and your wife, Carol, are doing. And the example you're setting for everyone, I think that's really good. I think we need positive examples. We get a lot of negative examples all too easily, but it really is wonderful. You inspire me, Ernie, and I really appreciate what you and your wife are doing. It's really great. So I just want to say thank you.
Just remember, I don't buy green bananas.
You made me laugh so hard when you sent me that. I invited him to be on the show. And he goes, well, I said, how's May 27th? He goes, well, at my age, I don't buy green bananas. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I appreciate you being here. You're just wonderful. And if you ever make it to Texas, I hope you'll let me know. And you're the positive example that you put out is just sends ripples in the world. I think we can all feel that, and I think everyone is really enjoying you here. I'm looking to see if we got another one here. It's an honor to meet someone who is showing respect to the military. Yeah, it really is, and just people in general too. Mm-hmm.
I think that even what we've done here in this hour may change a lot of people's lives right on this program right now to get out there and do something.
Yeah, you really are. I mean, I like your idea. Like, hey, I'm just going to call this person. What does it hurt to just call? Make those calls, and you see something you want to change, you just were like, okay, rather than complain about it, what can I do? And you just started doing things, and I just think that's really wonderful, and I appreciate it.
Don't be afraid to give out my phone number or my email address. I try to answer any questions I can answer or help anybody do what they're doing.
Do you ever go on Facebook or
no, ma'am.
Yeah. It can be kind of take up a lot of time.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I'll tell people about you. I'll help spread the word.
Good.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being on here today. Does anyone else have any more questions? My phone's doing fine; it's working. But we've had our hour with Ernie, so if anyone, I don't want to go before you leave someone without a question, but I think we've done it.
Yeah,
all right.
We've done it. Okay.
We've done it. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, lady.
Ernie. This was wonderful.
Bye-bye.
You take care. Take care, Carol. And bye. Oh, yeah. Hey. And thanks to Skylar again, too. That was wonderful.
Yes. Thank
all
you
right.
so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.